I'd like to congratulate Democrats for ridding yourselves of this untalented mediocrity. I mean, this is the most self-aggrandizing liar that has ever held this job. The White House press secretary is a sacred position, and she stood up there for years and lied through her teeth to the American people.
My friend, she's not the first.
She is the literal worst White House press secretary in my lifetime. And what she did in the last year and a half of the Biden administration, cheap fakes, the entire cover-up around the president's mental faculties, she was in the center of it. I agree with you. I don't think she will, although I would argue that it's pretty disloyal to leave the political party that, gave you your biggest career shot that you've ever had. But I tend to agree with you. I mean, I think the things we've learned in the last 2 years is that the two least credible sources of information in this world are the Gaza Health Ministry and Karine Jean-Pierre. And when she puts this book out, every single person who reads it, reviews it, or discusses it needs to remember that virtually everything she said about what was going on behind the scenes in the White House was an outright lie. And so when she puts a book out, I think we ought to treat it from a source that has a proven track record of lying from the podium of the White House to the American people.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your man Wise, and hey, we got to get our weekly dose of Scott Jennings. Once again, doing what he does best, schooling these woke liberals on these panels on CNN. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it.
It has been interesting to watch Elon Musk go scorched earth on this bill. He went from saying, I think this is a bad idea, to saying, call your representatives, get rid of it. And there are a lot of theories about why this is, one of which is the simplest, that he's right, that it does increase the deficit, that it is a lot of government spending that is not paid for. So what are Republicans going to do? And is it going to matter after this man spent, almost $250 million on Republican campaigns?
Well, Elon Musk is a brilliant man, and he doesn't make rockets or Teslas by compromising. And it just might be that his intellect is ill-suited to passing legislation. And so I don't know that he is the right person to give Mike Johnson or John Thune advice about how to pass this bill to stop a tax increase. And that's really what it is. And I'm confident that as we get toward the finish line, Elon Musk will be on board, because the bill is to stop the Democrats' tax increase. That's its whole purpose. If we don't pass it, everyone's taxes go up.
That's so interesting, because for the last 6 months, the answer to every question in the federal government was Elon Musk. Yeah. And now all of a sudden, he's not qualified to talk about spending?
I didn't say he wasn't qualified. I said his intellect might not be suited to legislative strategy.
Okay. Go ahead, Reese.
Well, I think that he is clearly trying to rehabilitate his image by trying to create some fake distance between him and Donald Trump. Of course, he's against the deficit decreasing, but I don't give him credit for being against this bill, because he does not have a problem with the tax cuts for himself, and he doesn't have a problem with millions of people losing their Medicaid coverage. He railed against Medicaid and other entitlements, and so I don't think he deserves credit. I think this is what a lot of people do when they fake leave the Trump orbit, is they try to act like they aren't on board with things. But we are not going to forget that he has been the single most chaotic and cruelty causing agent in this administration.
He obviously doesn't really know what she's talking about. The deficit decreasing, he's been the most cruel. I mean, come on, man. This is a Trump deranged individual for sure. Hands down.
He's realizing the con of Donald Trump that so many people already know, which is Donald Trump claims to be a good fiscal steward, but when he was president first time, no president in modern history added more to the debt than he did. Now, I know what Scott will say. That's COVID. But if you take away COVID, he added $4 trillion to the deficit before COVID even came about. And now he's proposing another $2.4 trillion while 11 million people lose their insurance. This is the con of Donald Trump, claiming that he's a fiscal steward, claiming Republicans are the fiscal stewards, when in reality it is Democrats who have been making the investments time and time again on behalf of the American people.
Scott, do you have anything to say for yourself? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I love them both, and I don't like it when mom and dad are fighting. But having spoken to him recently, I know he has a deeply held view that the debt that we have in this country, Elon, I mean, is a problem that must be dealt with urgently. And he does have some disappointment that Republicans don't share his zeal for the urgency of the issue. However, this is not a spending bill. This is a reconciliation bill, and it has three main points: making the tax cuts permanent, massive investments in border security. It fully funds the border wall, and the biggest and most necessary welfare reform in at least a generation. Those three things happen to be what Donald Trump ran on for president and won the national popular vote and a not particularly close win in the Electoral College. So this is the president's agenda. And I actually think Elon's goals regarding reduction of debt and the president's goals regarding passing what he ran on are not irreconcilable. They're just all not going to happen in the same bill.
Are Elon's goals the same goals that Republicans said that they also shared for 2-3 decades in this country?
Republicans do want.
So basically, it's out the window now. Is that what you're saying?
No,
like
but
they don't care
but this legislation,
whether their children or your children are saddled with. I mean, I'm just saying that's the talking point.
But this legislation is not a spending bill. It's not an appropriations bill, and it is not a budget bill. It is a reconciliation bill. There are other vehicles to achieve those goals. But I hear what you're saying,
but you also just acknowledge.
Yeah, she wants to kind of disregard, because what we know about Democrats, they're not really used to, running on things, giving campaign promises and actually following through. And this particular bill actually follows through on the promises that President Trump made on the campaign trail. And we know Democrats aren't used to politicians, definitely on their side of things, following through on campaign promises. They're not really used to that. Now, I'm not happy that the fact that we're going to add, $2.4 trillion to our deficit when we're already sitting at a $37 trillion deficit right now. I'm not real happy about that. I'm not. But I do appreciate, making the tax cuts permanent.
First of all, extending the tax cuts will cost money. Second of all, even the budget, even the hold on, even
tax cuts. It's keeping the rates the same.
Okay,
it's not a tax
all right.
cut.
It costs money. Okay,
it doesn't cost money. The money belongs
yes,
to the people.
I mean, look,
so you want Republicans to raise taxes?
And look,
we did not run on that.
Hold on, guys. He's extending the tax cuts.
Tax rates.
He's also creating new tax cuts that cost money. Okay, I mean, this is not voodoo, okay? It's just a balance sheet. You either pay for it or you don't. And historically, Republicans have said, if you're going to spend, pay for it. It's just that now, I guess that doesn't matter.
Listen, can I tell you this? This whole thing is weird. It's been weird from the beginning, okay? Because Elon Musk has been ill-suited to be at the right hand of the father since the very start. I'm finding it incredibly amusing to see, a bunch of Republicans, elected Republicans, who for the last 5 months have been sucking up to Elon Musk and to Donald Trump, have to pick between mom and dad. Look, it's giving me whiplash, because it wasn't but last week that they were still in the White House and tweeting love letters to each other and thank you notes and all of this stuff. And it's just, what I think you have are two guys with a lot of power. One has a lot more money than the other, and the other one is president. This is a fight between Godzilla and King Kong. And it is, if it weren't so incredibly serious and, the subject matter wasn't affecting us all, it would be incredibly amusing, and I would ask for a big vat of popcorn.
Anna says there's a fight between King Kong and Godzilla. I mean, the Democrats and the people on that side of things, they're not really used to, people having disagreements, with each other on policy, because they don't allow for disagreements when it comes to policy on the Democrat or in the Democrat Party. They don't allow it. So they're not used to, people within the party having some differences of opinions in how we should go about doing things. And in my opinion, I think that's what's beautiful about being on this side of things, is that we don't all agree on everything. I have friends, that I love, that I like a lot, but we don't agree. Heck, my wife, we've been married for a long time, and I love her to death, but I love her to life. We don't agree on everything. There are some things that we just don't agree on. They're just not used to it, unfortunately. Let's keep it moving.
So you think that the Republican president that just won an overwhelming victory, should raise taxes and increase welfare in this country?
I think he should raise taxes on. I think he should make sure he's raising taxes on billionaires so they pay their fair share and not hurting people who are on Medicaid, who have enough things to worry about right now.
More Medicaid and more taxes.
I want people to get the health care that they need for their families.
You want illegal immigrants?
For people who need it and can't afford it, I absolutely want more people to get health care.
Scott, I just want to hang on. I just want to.
There's 11 million people who are going to.
Yeah, they keep talking, just 11 million people. I haven't seen any proof, though. I haven't seen any proof. What we do know is we've had a plethora of illegal immigrants receiving Social Security benefits, disability benefits, Medicare, Medicaid benefits that they need to come off the books. And we do need some change. We need to get people back to work so that they can afford their own health care. Like, come on, man. We can't be in the business of continuously increasing welfare and social services for people that could get out and get a job. If you're a senior citizen, if you are a disabled veteran, someone who actually has a need, I don't have a problem helping you. I don't even have a problem helping those that, on the bottom end of the totem pole, or the low end of the totem pole that needs a hand up, but it can't be in perpetuity. That is my problem, with a lot of these social services, that it can't be in perpetuity. You know what I'm saying? If we're going to give you help, year, 2 years, I don't have a problem helping the kids. If that's what we got to do, help our children, our young people, make sure that they get, the health insurance and things of that nature. I don't have a problem helping them either. Maybe we subsidize that as long as you're working and paying a piece. Yeah, we'll take care of the kids. I don't have a problem with that either, but it just can't be in perpetuity. And the goal or the thing is that, hey, we're just going to raise taxes on everybody. And the way this dude is talking like, oh, we just need the billionaires, like billionaires aren't paying taxes. They're paying a whole heck of a lot of tax. And they also employ the people who actually also pays the taxes. I mean, it's crazy that this is still a talking point in 2025 that we need the rich people to pay more of their money in taxes. Honestly, I'm actually for just a flat tax across the board. And that way we'll get the taxes out of everybody. Because what we do know is right now, the top 25% of earners in this country are responsible for 80% of the taxes being paid. That's a real number right there. So that lets you know that if 25% of the country is responsible for 80% of the taxes, we have 75% of people that either are not paying taxes at all or are paying very, very minimal. Something needs to shake about that.
The White House press secretary is a sacred position, and she stood up there for years and lied through her teeth to the American people.
Here's a little of Scott Jennings, and he is not convinced that KJP is authentic.
I have a different view. I'd like to congratulate Democrats for ridding yourselves of this untalented mediocrity. I mean, this is the most self-aggrandizing liar that has ever held this job. The White House press secretary is a sacred position, and she stood up there for years and lied through her teeth to the American people.
My friend, she's not the first.
She is the literal worst White House press secretary in my lifetime. And what she did in the last year and a half of the Biden administration, cheap fakes, the entire cover-up around the president's mental faculties, she was in the center of it.
So you think she's doing this to launder herself?
So congratulations for getting rid of this, but Democrats deserve everything they're getting here for putting her in that job in the first place.
The fact that it seems like she was in the White House for her own personal gain and not to service the American people.
I agree with you.
And part of that is Alex Thompson has some reporting that she had a publicist working for her pro bono to lift up her profile.
Go figure. Join the White House so you can lift your profile so you can get to a bag. Do all the dirty work for said White House. Get out, write a book to tell all so you can get a bigger bag. Seems like that's what everybody else has been doing. Everybody on that side of things have been on a grift and capitalizing off of it. Shouldn't be a surprise. Shouldn't be a surprise that KJP decided, you know what, I'm gonna go get a piece of that too. I'm gonna get me some of that as well. And there's been a plethora of people that have parlayed that White House, press secretary position into greater positions, outside the White House. We've seen it happen. Jen Psaki got her own television show after she left that role. And we've seen a multitude of other people do something similar. A lot of times the people do what they do when it comes to, being a part of these administrations because, it's a scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. You do this for me, I'm gonna put you in a place that you just couldn't get to on your own. We've seen this happen entirely too many times. But I want to hear from you guys, what you guys think about this in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe, turn the notifications on to all so you never miss an upload. Join us 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for ARP in the morning. Appreciate the love, support. Come join us. If you'd like to support this channel financially, buy me a coffee or join the ARP family. Links in the description box below. Keep God first, stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you all next time. Peace.
Vibes so raw, can't hide the truth. Words words so sharp.